Wednesday, May 27th, 2020. Hello, everybody. I've been talking to people. I haven't done anything solo in a while, so this is good. Weather's getting hot out there. If we're not complaining about the heat, we will be complaining about it shortly because that's what we do. We don't have spring or fall anymore. We just have summer. I've been reading a lot of stuff online, and the internet is it's a wealth of information. The problem I'm having is that, well, I have several problems. One, I can never see where the camera is. I can't pay attention to the camera. I keep looking at the picture. And I need to look at the camera, but I think when you look at the camera, you're getting weird. The problem is that you can grow your information, you can grow your world, or you can narrow it. I see too many people, too many intelligent people that I know narrowing their world, and it's really disturbing with different biases. And so I wanted to just, in this sea of information that's out there, I watch people watch facts roll past them. And if you are of the mindset that a source, I see people bashing sources, and the instant that source says a shred that agrees with them, all of a sudden it's accurate. When you are of the mindset that things are only accurate when they agree with your dogma, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's not reality. That's you tricking yourself. That's you, making yourself think you look good in that, skating outfit you wore in high school. That's not reality. That's not reality. You got to get back to reality. So for your pleasure, bias in you. I just did this. I was literally just typing this. Look, we all have bias, and I don't agree with all bias theory. We all have it. But let's be reasonable here. Bias. Inflexible. Positive or negative. Conscious or unconscious belief about a group. Hey, it's like when we were growing up, the dancing dot. Inflexible, positive or negative, conscious or unconscious belief about a group. Bias. So, let's look at that. Inflexible. Right off the bat, it's bad. That means all. That means all. That means you're not going to change. There's no point in wasting time trying to talk to this person. You're not going to change their beliefs. You're not going to educate them. They are inflexible. You are not going to do anything to them. They are not going to change. That's what inflexible means. Inflexible. So, right off the bat, we're losing. Group. The bias applies to a group. If you have this feeling about an individual, it's not a bias. It's not a bias. A bias can only be about a grouping of things, a classification, and a group is a number of things placed together. That's a very simple explanation, but it's an explanation, okay? Number of things placed together. So this leads us to prejudice. Now, I personally don't agree with this. Preconceived opinion that is not based on reason or actual experience. Maybe I was raised in a different time, but I think in some ways I never saw prejudice as a negative thing because I think we prejudge things sometimes as a survival thing. We prejudge what is dangerous, that which will cause harm based on experience. So my experience has been kind of the opposite of this definition here, just for the record. Prejudice is to do it so that you prejudge. I think of it as prejudging, not prejudiceness. So you can have, now that's not saying, that's not going over into racism and all that nastiness, because that is wrong. But I'm saying that if you know that uh, bees sting you habitually, you have a prejudice towards going near a beehive. Um, in the definition of the way I was raised, I wasn't raised in this nouveau hatred based definition. Although I can see how it becomes twisted. I can see both ways of that. But this is all fine and well. Just please, when you're dealing with these things, um, try not to fixate on bias. Try to be flexible. This thing where you just regurgitate what suits your dogma, that's not education. And you're putting it up on the internet and you think people are gaining faith in you and blah, blah, blah. No, they're just shaking their head. They're not listening. You become somebody who's just, you're Don Quixote, you're talking out into the wind. Engage in civil discourse. Agree to disagree. I had the opportunity the other night to have a very long conversation online with 3 friends. And we argue all the time. But we don't go away from the argument thinking less of each other or hating each other, because the foundation is there. It's not about winning or losing. The only thing it's about is having your side heard and then stepping away from it and assuming that the audience is intelligent enough that they will think about it. When you push this dogma down people's throats, you're insulting the intelligence of the audience. You're thinking everybody's going to fall for it just because you said it. Everybody's going to be tricked because you said it. Let the people research. Give them information. Have discussions. Interact with people with different opinions. Step outside your circle. But this whole thing, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's being preached in this country right now, and the way that people are so narrow in the scope of their laser-like focus they can get, and the way the information is being manipulated is akin to what happened in Europe pre-World War II. And we all know how that turned out. The answer is not well. So please, think about these things. Show a little common sense. Think outside the box, outside your comfort zone. Do stuff that that makes you think, and be around people that do think, and practice that kind of mindset. If you just want to spew your thing, then I guess that's okay too. But realize that people aren't listening, and you're just spewing, dude. And I have a couple people that I know on this thing that are intelligent people that put the dumbest crap up that can be fact checked in 60 seconds, and they're not doing it because it's telling them what they want to hear. And it's what they want to hear is more important than actually having a cohesive argument and being accurate. Accuracy has become a negative thing. It seems like it's this non-existent thing that we don't use. It is it's the spleen of conversation. It's this ancient organ that we no longer use. So, try and practice accuracy. Try and go beyond the truth. Strive for the truth. It's a stepping stone. But use facts. Use facts in your engagements and conversations, and try and articulate yourself in a truthful way, and be known for your integrity. as best you can. We all screw up. We all got bad habits, and we all got prejudice. I mean, whether it's paper, plastic, dog or cat, Ford or Chevy, we have prejudice. We all do. But if you're prejudiced without experience, because you saw something, because you read something, and not because you experienced something, that's where I have a problem. It needs to be experience based. If when you walk down that street in high school, every time you go down that street, you get beat up and robbed, you have a prejudice against that street. And somebody may say it's wrong, but it's experience based. And I get that. And your experience should be updated every so often, 5 years, 10 years, or whatever. Update your experience because the world changes around you. And I'm not saying go out and hate people, and I'm not saying just love people. I'm saying pull your head out of your butt, get off the internet, and go talk to somebody different than yourself and meet somebody. You will find out. And what destroys bias is you break up the grouping, and you find out that everybody is in it together, and there's decency, and it shatters the illusions about all the groupings, you know. And that in mind, I might go out and drive a Chevy, get rid of one of my prejudices. I probably won't. I was actually just saying that for a fact. I'm not going to drive a Chevy, but some things never change. Take care.